Welcome to the AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight Series. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today my guest is Glenn Udall. He is the Chief Fleet Officer, U.S. for Finn. Welcome, Glenn.
Thanks, Brian. Great to be here with you.
Thank you for coming. Just to kick things off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience in automotive?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm a golfer that happens to do a side job in automotive. But no, I've been in the automotive industry for over 30 years. Spent quite a bit of time in the daily rental space, managing fleet procurement and services, also in the connected car space, and obviously now with Finn.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about what Finn does and what it means to car drivers and what that experience looks like.
Sure. So Finn, we are a new vehicle subscription, and we offer consumers access to new vehicles with an all-inclusive package, typically 6 or 12 months in duration. It includes insurance, maintenance. Basically, the only responsibility that the consumer has is fueling the car or charging it, depending upon what they have.
Okay. Well, our audience at AutoSuccess is franchise auto dealers. So let's dive in. Let's dive into what does this mean to them. How does the relationship with Finn work for a car dealer?
Sure, that's a great question, Brian. As far as Finn, our mission is really about creating incremental value for all of our partners, including the manufacturers, but especially the dealers. And the way we do that is in the front end of the process, we're ordering through dealers, obviously. We have relationships directly with the manufacturers to secure the inventory we want to offer our consumers. We actuate those orders through dealers. And then as that vehicle goes into the subscription period, we are talking to our dealer partners about those vehicles at the end of the subscription. We want our dealers to have access to these vehicles post-subscription because they are going to be quality used cars. This is one user for 6 or 12 months, very low mileage, and very good condition. We believe that that's a great value add for our dealer partners in access to used cars. The marketplace today is tough. It's tough to get at quality used cars, and particularly cars that have lower mileage levels. So that's a real important part of what we believe the value proposition is of Finn to our dealers.
So you're giving the dealers access to one owner, low mileage, good shape, inventory that they know is coming. What happens if I'm a Finn subscriber and I decide that I want to purchase the vehicle that I've been driving for 6 months?
Sure. We will not sell any car directly to a consumer. We would always work through a dealer partner. But in that case, in a great example, if one of our subscribers absolutely loves the car that they've subscribed to for 6 or 12 months, then we would in fact work with the local dealer in the area to which they reside, talk to that dealer, have that dealer purchase the car from Finn, and then directly sell it to that particular consumer.
Wow, that's a heck of a. You're not only are you delivering them good inventory, you're delivering them customers as well.
Certainly, and again, back to the concept of incremental value, that's part of our mission statement. We want to create value for the OEMs, for the consumers, and for dealers. We believe we can do this by producing really quality used cars for our dealer partners.
So Glenn, how do your dealer partners know what inventory you have and when it's going to become available, and then how do they communicate with you that they're interested in buying it?
Sure. I have a group of remarketing managers that are out every day talking to dealers and providing them lists and availability of vehicles, both in terms of the attributes of that vehicle as well as when it would be available. So that conversation is happening constantly. And at that point, if a dealer is in fact interested, then we would work towards a pre-sale agreement. And simply stated, that would be that they are committing to buy these cars at this price point at this point in time. So that is really how the process works in our current environment. Our objective is to launch a Finn portal, which will allow dealers easy access 24/7 to look at our active inventory and see if there are any vehicles that they have interest in, and they know exactly when that car would be available. In other words, when that subscription would be ending, and therefore they could take possession or purchase the vehicle.
EVs are certainly the buzz these days. Last year, Babcock's Media, we launched another brand called The Buzz. It covers all things EVs, everything from cars to fleets to charging stations to EVs that go off road, side by sides, motorcycles, and it's been a very successful brand for us. It seems like EVs are impacting every business in America. What impact will EVs have on your business?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brian. And I think EVs for us are critically important and part of our future. We are positioning Finn to offer EVs at about 30% of the available inventory to our potential subscribers. And really, it aligns nicely to our mission, which is to make mobility fun and sustainable. EVs is really a challenging thing for all of us in the automotive space. We know that it is our future, but the path to get there is always somewhat difficult. When we think about subscription and EVs, we believe it really presents kind of an easy on-ramp for consumers to experience EVs through a subscription. They can get to understand how an EV might work for them within their day-to-day lives, but it's in a way that they're not making a longer-term commitment. We really view that as a favorable thing for the consumer to really experience EVs in a uniquely different way. So we believe EVs are critically important to Finn and our future.
Okay. Now, you mentioned in that that you plan to have EVs be 30% of the vehicles you make available. Now, when a customer says, I want a vehicle, are they looking at the vehicles that you currently have ownership of, or are they saying, this is a vehicle I want, and then Finn goes out and gets that vehicle for them?
That's a great question, Brian. They are looking at the inventory that we have secured, and that means in various states. That could be that we have a vehicle that we have secured and is being produced, or literally a vehicle that we have in our possession. And we show each subscriber the availability date of those vehicles. So there could be a vehicle that's available next week or a vehicle that's available 3 months from now. But when they're looking at our inventory and availability and configuring a certain car, maybe a certain color they want, so we would convey to them exactly when that vehicle would be available for delivery to them.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
So if a person knows that they have a lease that's expiring in 3 months, they can look at your vehicles that'll be available in 3 months. Or if you need a car today, they would just look at the cars that are available today.
Exactly. So it gives them some visibility and from a planning perspective as to how they can solution for their mobility needs.
I guess my other question, you'd mentioned the fun part
Yeah,
a couple questions ago, and it does sound fun. The idea that you could have, drive a pickup truck for 6 months and then, see if you like it. Drive an EV for 6 months and see if you like it. Drive a Corvette for 6 months, see if you like it. It gives you the opportunity to kind of dip your toe in the water with a lot of vehicles.
Sure.
What percentage of your business do you see being those type of people versus people that use it, to fill a gap or just to try something out?
That's an interesting question. We view kind of the personas of Finn customers as individuals that are filling that gap, as you said, and generally probably the younger generations that look at a solution like a subscription product as meeting their needs and are probably more inclined to be comfortable with a subscription structure and how they solution for their vehicle needs. The automotive enthusiast or the car person that just really likes cars, that is certainly part of our customer base. Probably a smaller percentage overall, but certainly someone that we'd love to appeal to. And that is what our product is all about. Let's make mobility fun and sustainable. And that gives them that chance to look at, what does Finn have today? What can I subscribe to? Is there something that I see that I really want to check out? And they could subscribe to that for 6 months and really experience that vehicle in a really intimate way. But ultimately then, at the end of those 6 months, look for the next one that they might want to subscribe to. And it could be a completely different vehicle. So it could be the pickup truck that I need for the next 6 months, and my next subscription is a Corvette.
Yeah.
And I think that's a unique attribute of what Finn is providing for potential subscribers.
Okay. I want to come back. I want to come back to the dealers side of this. Now, for Finn, since you're going to have drivers all across the country, do you need dealers all across the country?
We need and want dealers all across the country. That is so key to part of our future state. We will be operating and expanding throughout the U.S.
Yep.
Obviously, very much concentrated in high population areas. But as those vehicles come off of our subscriptions, we want those dealers in those local areas to have access to our vehicles post-subscription. So yes, that is part of our mission. Create those relationships with our local dealers in all of those areas and produce those cars for them post-subscription so that it's a very easy way for them to source quality used cars with structure, with good scheduling, so they're not wondering when a car might be available to them. They know specifically when that car would come off that subscription and therefore be available to them. So I think from a planning perspective, that gives them a unique edge to be able to look at how do I position myself with used car availability and customer demand in the right way.
Wow. Do you see dealers, looking at Finn and saying, okay, I know that I sell, 2 of this vehicle every week, and I sell 1 truck every week, and I sell this and this, and I look at Finn and I say, okay, I want to buy, these vehicles that'll come in next week, and I want to, buy these vehicles that come in 2 weeks. How far in advance could I plan my used car inventory with Finn?
You could plan your used car inventory as far in advance, quite frankly, as you want, in the range of 15 months in advance.
Wow.
We would work with our local dealers to talk about the vehicles that we're looking to place onto our platform in our portfolio. We have dealer partners that we spend time with in going through the very specific ordering details, specifications, options that we want to put on these vehicles to really make sure they're very aligned to what that dealer might want
at the end.
So as far as advance, we want to get as far upstream as we can. Now, we fully understand that it's very difficult to get that far in advance and know all the numbers, and we recognize that. But we also want to be committed to our dealer partners that is the level that we would go to in looking at how we're actually producing these used cars for them. The typical scenario, as we see it, is a bit of a bell curve. There would be some activity with our dealer partners well in advance. There would be a lot of activity during the subscription period. And thinking about our subscriptions at 6 or 12 months, let's say that's 8, maybe 6 months before the end of the subscription, where we are deeply engaged with our dealers. They have complete visibility, and we're beginning to solidify those buying structures. And then all the way up to 3 months in advance, potentially. But our mission at Finn is that we will have all of those vehicles sold to our dealer partners before the end of the subscription.
Okay. So if I'm a dealer and I want to learn more about Finn and I possibly want to sign up with Finn, how would I go about making contact, and what does that process look like?
Sure. You can reach out to us, fin.auto, very simple. Obviously, you can share my information as well to the audience, and I'd love to have the chance to talk to some potential dealer partners about what we're trying to do. But I would suggest going to fin.auto. They can provide their feedback. They could request a reach out. And as I've mentioned before, we have a team of remarketing managers that would love to reach out to dealers and engage in discussions. Even if it's just broadly about what we're trying to do, to learn more about how Finn can be really a value driver for a dealer. We hope that they'd be very interested in that, and we'd love the opportunity.
Glenn, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. Before we go, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, first of all, thank you, Brian, for the invite, and it really was great to be here with you today. I think in terms of for the audience, I want them to understand that really part of the Finn mission, the way we've structured this business for here in the U.S., is to create incremental value. Mm-hmm. That is our mission. And we view that through our OEM partners, through our potential subscribers, and our dealer partners. It's all about creating value, and we believe we can do that through this model.
Great. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching this AutoSuccess Executive Spotlight. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. My guest today has been Glenn Udall. I hope you come back and see us soon.